to do one more video. This one is going to be on Kevin Samuels being canceled, or this petition that was about canceling Kevin Samuels. I was going to try to watch Goldie's explanation for making the petition, but the problem was her live is so long that it's too hard for me to actually watch that. I'm not watching a whole hour of that. I'm sorry. Um, so I just watched a few videos. I looked at her channel for one. And I have nothing against her channel. It actually looks nice from what I can see. It's not a personal channel that I would be interested in, but it seems like it might be helpful for somebody else. So I have nothing against that, and I have nothing against her for that or her channel. Um, but at the same time, about canceling Kevin Samuels, I kind of feel like that's just silly. I mean, I can understand, someone with a perspective of being maybe an older woman who has children, who's divorced, or doesn't have their father's child. I mean, their child's father. Sorry, their child's father. It's late at night. Anyway, their child's father and their life. To me, I think, they are at an opposite angle to Kevin Samuels. The thing is with that is, from my perspective as a person who, wants an opposite perspective to someone who, for example, is attracted to black men, or is an older baby mama, or I don't know, like just different perspectives. I don't go after them, attacking them just because they are different from me or they have a different perspective to me. Um, I just think people live different lives, and different things work for different people because their lives are different from mine. So maybe their perspective and how they go about their life um, might work for them. And I feel like that's the problem with channels. Not like there's anything wrong with channels like Goldie's, but like that's the thing with channels like Goldie's and channels like Kevin Samuels. He goes about his life the way he does because for whatever reason he thinks it works for him. It benefits him in one way or another. So that's why his advice is based on his point of view and perspective, because that's what works for him, and he thinks that's what works for women that he associates with. It's all got to do with his point of view and perspective. So I don't think that, he should be canceled. I think he's good for somebody out there, that has a specific perspective that's similar to his, whether they're male or female. There are men and women that follow him that he actually benefits in the advice he gives. Just the same as Goldie. That's what I was trying to point out here. You see, Goldie gives advice to women that I, would think it would help them specifically, but it won't help me because I don't live that lifestyle. He gives advice to women, but I don't think that advice he gives to those women would help me because I don't live that lifestyle. I don't have those interests, basically. So, that's how I feel about the situation with Kevin Samuels. The problem with Kevin Samuels always is that he clashes with those who don't agree with him, basically. And the way he does it is in a way where it basically triggers the other side. So when the other side is triggered, then they want to cancel him because he's triggering them way too much. That's why they come up with ideas of like violence or, abuse of women. It's not about abuse of women, it's just about a different perspective. You'll see this in YouTube all over where people have different strategies in finding a man or finding a woman, and they clash against another platform that has a whole opposite way to get men and women. And then they basically war at each other because they have different styles. When the truth is, the reason they have different styles is because they're different people. Like I said in my last video, when I was comparing Cynthia G, Shira 7, and um, Jessica X. The part where I'm talking about the reference of Jessica X and Shira 7, you know, I have always had the perspective that this is another example of how women of different ideas and different lifestyles will try to come up with different ways to get men or women, and different, and their different platforms, basically. Neither is wrong because it applies to specific women. So, like when people say, "Oh, someone's a pick me," well, that whatever you're calling a pick me, for example, is just a person living their life the way it works for them, and they get men and they get, women because they're pick me men. Supposedly, people call men pick me too. Um, that appeals to the lifestyle that they live. There's nothing wrong with the way they live their lives either, in my opinion. Just the same as a sugar baby. There's nothing wrong with a sugar baby. There's nothing wrong with a pick me or whatever we're gonna call it. There's nothing wrong with a sugar baby, male or female for that matter, because there are sugar babies that are male, and they're sugar mamas, and so forth. So that's the same thing with Kevin Samuels in the sense where he's giving advice to people who are receptive to his advice because they live lives that it's conducive to take that advice from him, just like it's conducive to take advice from the other lady for certain women, but not all women, you know. And just like for Kevin Samuels, not all women would benefit from his advice. I say for myself personally, I wouldn't benefit from either individuals. No, I would not benefit from either of the other individuals I listed either. In most regards, there's some things, for example, you can not be a pick me, but also take advice from a pick me in one way. You cannot be a sugar baby and still take advice from a sugar baby. Um, you probably could take advice from a baby mama and still, in some way or another. I never have tried that though. Um, but I'm just saying, you can take advice from different types of people, but those would not be any of the people that I would use advice from for my main lifestyle choices. You know, there are other people that I follow that I appreciate or I relate to more when it comes to relationship things of that nature, basically. But yeah, that's just my perspective on it. I don't think that Kevin Samuels should be canceled. I think that people get triggered because we have too many situations where people fight amongst each other because, oh, we don't agree with this side or we don't agree with that platform, and so they war against each other, basically. And it's annoying because it's like, you know, neither of just because one person thinks a certain thing and another person thinks a certain thing, there's tons of people that think both those things. So there's enough people for your platforms that you don't even need to fight amongst each other about who's right, because you're both right for different people. And that's how I feel with Kevin Samuels and that other lady. It's just like you're both right for certain people. You're not right for me. Neither of you are right for me. But I'm just saying you're right for other types of people. And also, one other thing I wanted to come across was like, how they talk about I think she was trying to uh, touch upon I guess the red pill rage side of his platform slightly. And to me, I mean, like, understanding I with like I think some people misunderstand red pill to some extent because I feel like they are too reactionary towards it and they don't actually think of the root, the reason, or why someone has gone red pill, basically. Because those are more of the things that you want to think about than actually just dealing with the response of basically red pill rage. So to me, I feel in part with her petition, I think it has to do with a little bit of how she doesn't um, understand. And like I said, understanding is more so the problem in this whole situation, and that understanding that people are different and people come from different walks of life, therefore understand how to approach a thing differently than other people. And that is a-okay on both sides. And it's also okay on both sides to not want each other. That's the thing. I think a major problem with the dating scene platforms on YouTube is that everybody's talking about who they want to date. Okay, if you're talking to someone who it seems like they're not your ideal person to date, it doesn't mean they're the worst person in the world, one. And secondarily, you don't have to war against them. They're just some human being you don't want to date. You probably would never date anyway. They're probably states or countries away from you. Like, nobody was considering you dating these people, so why are you, like, considering, like, oh, this person isn't a good match for you, or why you think that this person isn't a good match? To me, it's weird. So that's why I feel like in platforms like this, I mean, we kind of look to see how everyone is viable for a relationship for you. And it's like, you know, not, I guess I'm one of those people who's more of the mindset that I don't look for everyone to be my partner. I look for, if I'm looking for someone to be my partner, it surely isn't going to be while I'm on YouTube. So, I mean, like, I'm not even thinking in that mindset. I'm thinking in a larger mindset of viability from other people who may match their, approach, their mindset, their perspective, their lifestyle. I am of the mindset that everyone has someone out there that's meant for them, I guess. So that's why I come with a more positive approach on this rather than a negative approach where you're coming after people who basically do it wrong. When it's like there's no way to do it wrong. Well, there is a way to do it wrong, like if you're being violent or something crazy like that. But you get what I'm saying. There's so many different approaches to, things surrounding like relationships and dating and things of that nature and finding a good man or a good woman, that I don't feel it's a one size fits all for every human being. And I feel like these type of channels war against each other because they come of the mindset that I'm right always and I'm the only one who can be right. When it's not like that. It's like you all can be right for different individuals. And so that's all I have to say in this video. Thanks for watching. Bye.